You walk into a dealer, you see a Kawasaki badge on the engine, and you assume every mower wearing that name is built the same way underneath. That assumption is exactly what gets homeowners a 3-year engine and gets landscapers a machine that runs for a decade. Here's the truth. Nobody puts on the sticker. Kawasaki does not build one mower engine. It builds 3. FR, FS, FX. Same brand, same badge, completely different engineering, different rated service life, different answer to whether that mower survives past year 5. We pulled the spec tags, checked the service data, and tested the claims against what actually happens in the field. In this video, we're breaking down exactly what separates these 3 engines, where owners get burned buying the wrong one, and which tier is actually built to survive. Tell us where you're watching from, hit subscribe, and let's get into it. Before we rank anything, you need to understand what actually separates these 3 engines, because the badge on the shroud will never tell you. Kawasaki doesn't sell one mower engine with 3 price points. It sells 3 duty cycle tiers, each engineered to a different standard for a different job. FR is residential. FS is professional crossover. FX is commercial. That's not marketing language. That's an engineering classification, and it shows up in the metal. 4 things separate these tiers, and every one of them matters more than horsepower. First, cylinder liner material. Cast iron liners resist wear far better than aluminum bore engines under sustained heat and load, and where Kawasaki uses them versus where it doesn't tells you exactly who the engine was built for. Second, the lubrication system. Full pressure lubrication feeds critical components continuously, even at max throttle. Splash lubrication doesn't. Third, the balance configuration. A properly engineered 90-degree V-twin reduces mechanical stress across thousands of operating hours. Fourth, and this is the number that actually matters, rated service life. FR engines are built for 1,500 to 2,000 hours. FX engines are documented at 3,000 to 4,000 hours and beyond. That gap isn't marginal. It's the difference between an engine that outlasts the mower it's bolted to and one that doesn't. Here's the pattern you'll see repeat across every tier in this video. Owners post failures in the comment section. Cooling fin debris, oil starvation, valve guide wear. Those failures are real. What they're not, in almost every documented case, is evidence of a design flaw. They're maintenance-sensitive failures, and we're going to prove that tier by tier, starting with the engine most homeowners meet first, and the one most owners either praise for a decade or blame the moment it hits its ceiling. That engine is the FR, and understanding its ceiling is where this whole buying decision actually starts. The FR series is where most serious homeowners meet Kawasaki for the first time, and that first meeting tends to produce one of 2 owners. Either the engine runs clean for years, and they become a lifelong advocate, or they push it past its design limits and blame the brand when the repair bill shows up. Both outcomes make sense once you understand what FR actually is. And that's not a loyalty question. It's a specification question, and the specification has a ceiling. Kawasaki positions the FR as a residential ride-on mower power solution. That wording is deliberate. Residential, ride-on. Not commercial, not fleet, but don't mistake that for cheap engineering. The FR carries cast iron cylinder liners, a 90-degree V-twin configuration for primary balance, and full pressure lubrication, feeding critical components even at full throttle. Under correct maintenance and the right duty cycle, FR engines regularly reach 1,500 to 2,000 hours before major service, according to dealer and independent shop data. For a homeowner mowing 1 to 2 acres weekly, that's a decade or more of reliable running. Now the comment section tells a messier story, and it deserves a direct answer. Cooling fin debris buildup, oil starvation events, valve guide wear at high hours. These are real, documented failures. What they're not is a flaw in the FR's core architecture. Everyone traces back to maintenance or duty cycle abuse. Packed cooling fins push operating temperature past design range. Skipped oil changes accelerate wear. The lubrication system was never built to absorb. That's not the FR failing. That's a residential engine being run on a commercial schedule without the maintenance discipline that schedule demands. Kawasaki did issue a recall in October 2023 for model year 2023 FR engines over a fuel tube routing issue. 8 fire incidents reported, resolved through free dealer repair. That's a production batch error, not a repeating design flaw. The verdict on FR is simple. Maintained correctly, in its lane, it delivers. It is not the engine fleet operator's run, and anyone telling you otherwise is selling you something. The FS series is the tier almost no buyer's guide mentions, and that's exactly why it matters. Kawasaki describes it as a professional series built for long-term performance and reliability, and that language isn't interchangeable with FR's residential designation. The difference isn't cosmetic. It's a completely different answer to a completely different buyer's problem. Here's who actually needs FS. You've outgrown what a residential engine can sustain. You're running 2 or more acres multiple times a week, and an FR is going to hit its ceiling inside of 5 seasons if you push it that hard. But you're not a commercial operation either. You don't need the full engineering overhead or the full price tag of an FX. FS exists specifically for that gap, and it's a real gap, not a marketing invention. Independent mechanics who work across all 3 tiers consistently land on the same answer. FS is the correct crossover engine for exactly that owner, the one whose schedule will push an FR past its limit, but whose operation doesn't demand a commercial machine. That's not a compromise pick. That's the right pick for a specific, common buyer profile that most comparison videos skip straight past on their way from FR to FX. You can see this play out in the market itself. FS shows up on mid-tier commercial brands and serious prosumer zero turns, and that's not a coincidence. The manufacturers building those machines know exactly where FR's service life runs out and exactly what their buyers need above it. They're speccing FS on purpose. Kawasaki's warranty coverage on the FS reflects that same confidence, and that's worth paying attention to. A manufacturer's warranty terms tell you more about where an engine sits than any spec sheet printed for a dealer floor. If FR is the honest answer for light residential use, and FX is the honest answer for full commercial operation, FS is the honest answer for everyone caught in between, which, if you're being realistic about your own acreage and your own schedule, might be exactly where you land. If you're trying to figure out which tier actually matches your workload, this is exactly the kind of breakdown we do every week. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. The FX series is where Kawasaki stops positioning and starts stating facts. Kawasaki's own product documentation calls these a heavy-duty commercial engine family, built for when the job, the product, or the operator's reputation demands the best. That's not a reviewer's opinion. That's the manufacturer drawing a hard line between everything below it and what FX was actually engineered to do. The gap between FS and FX isn't one upgrade. It's a cumulative stack of design decisions that compound across thousands of operating hours. Where FS is built for professional duty cycles, FX is built for commercial ones, multiple operators, multiple acres a day, equipment that cannot afford unscheduled downtime because downtime is lost revenue. Documented commercial fleet data places well-maintained FX engines at 3,000 to 4,000 hours or more before major service. That's not a residential benchmark. That's a number that changes the entire cost calculation on the machine. Now, the comment section controversy around FX centers on overheating, valve guide wear, and warranty frustration. And these complaints get the same treatment we gave FR. They're real, and they trace back to the same maintenance-sensitive failure mode, just scaled to commercial hours. Overheating events consistently trace to neglected cooling fins under heavy debris. Valve guide wear at extreme hours is the predictable result of extended service intervals on machines running past their scheduled maintenance points. Warranty frustration is a separate issue entirely. Every engine manufacturer requires documented maintenance compliance during the warranty period, and operators pushing service intervals to cut downtime are running into that requirement, not a Kawasaki-specific problem. Kawasaki issued a recall in June 2024 covering certain FX and FS engines across multiple mower brands for a voltage regulator overheating issue, resolved through free dealer repair. Again, a manufacturing process error, not a flaw in the architecture. Here's the detail that actually matters. When mechanics spec equipment for their own operations, their own money, their own reputation, documented service data shows FX-powered machines are what they consistently choose. That's not brand loyalty. That's people who've watched engines fail long enough to know the difference. So which one actually survives? If you're measuring pure endurance, FX wins. It's built to outlast the other two under real commercial stress. documented at 3,000 to 4,000 hours or more, while FR tops out around 2,000. But survival isn't the same question as which engine is right for you, and that distinction is where most buyers get this decision wrong. FR survives just fine in its own lane. It just has a lane, and that lane has a ceiling. An FR maintained correctly on 1 to 2 acres a week isn't a failure waiting to happen. It's the correct engine doing exactly the job it was engineered for. The mistake isn't buying FR. The mistake is buying FR and running a commercial schedule on it. Here's what to actually do the next time you're standing in front of a mower at a dealer. Find the engine spec tag on the engine itself, not the sticker on the deck. Read the series designation. Then ask one direct question. What is this engine rated for in hours, and is that a residential or commercial rating? If they can't answer clearly, walk away. If you're planning 5 years of light to moderate use on 1 to 2 acres, FR is a defensible long-term buy. If you're looking at 6 to 8 years with heavier use, 2 or more acres on a consistent weekly schedule, FS is where the conversation should start. If you're planning a decade or more, running demanding seasons, or operating equipment that has to perform on a commercial schedule, FX is the minimum worth considering. The badge on that engine only tells you the brand. It was never designed to tell you the spec, and dealers who let you assume otherwise are counting on you not asking the second question. Don't ask if it's a Kawasaki. Ask which Kawasaki. That single question is the difference between buying the right engine and buying the right name on the wrong machine. If this saved you from the wrong purchase, subscribe. We've got more of these breakdowns coming. 3 engines, 1 badge, and only 1 question that actually matters. FR survives its own lane. FS survives the gap nobody talks about. FX survives everything you can throw at it, and that's exactly why it costs what it costs. None of that means FX is the right answer for you. It means the right answer is whichever one matches your acreage, your schedule, and how long you actually plan to own the machine. The spec tag tells you the truth, the sticker never will. Read it before you buy, not after it fails. Subscribe for more buyer's guides that go past the spec sheet.